Hola, buenos días.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
This is Barb.
And this is Estela.
And welcome to
Cafecito
and Crime. So today's episode, we will be talking about actually, it's like really different for me because I've never done a story that we can actually like discuss afterwards, because I want you to it's kind of like, well, you'll see. So anyway, this is a story of Donna Doll.
Okay.
Her name was Donna Doll. And
Doll, like D-O-L?
Yeah, como
okay.
muñeca.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It was really creepy because when I started looking her up, like salía un chingo cosas de Annabelle, bro. And I was like, no, I don't want to read about
Wait, are you talking
Annabelle.
about like Annabelle the movie or like the real Annabelle?
Real Annabelle.
Oh, like the I was going to say the Sour Patch.
Wow, the Sour Patch.
No, es como se dice.
La muñeca, pues.
Yeah, pero the original one. It's that
¿Cuál?
The original Annabelle, like the real one, it's just like not like a rag doll.
A rag doll, ándale.
No, pero ¿cómo se llama?
Oh, Raggedy Ann?
No. Is it a Raggedy Ann or
Sí.
American Patch or something like that? Like
An American doll? American girl?
Yeah, something like that. But it just looks like a basic patch doll. Like it's nothing.
Dude, I don't know, but we should probably look into her. But you'll do it because I'm not going to do it. I'm scared.
No, yeah. It's just a doll, dude.
No, it's not a doll. Not based on all the shit that I looked up. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so if you would like to listen to the story of Donna Doll, go ahead and grab your cafecitos.
And let's get started.
Okay, so today, like I said, we're going to
You're like, okay.
Okay. So I drink too much coffee, by the way. Vietnamese iced coffee
Gets you in.
is life.
Yeah.
If no one has ever had Vietnamese iced coffee, go to your local donut shop. I'm pretty sure they have it there. It's only iced. I didn't know that, but the guy told me like a few times ago that they only serve it iced. I don't know if it's because it's so like you're like chewing the fucking like coffee. It's like thick. Anyway, so we're going to Brookfield, Illinois, and I'm going to speak about their fun, interesting, random fact. Yeah. So there's a place called Galloping Ghost Arcade, which is the largest video arcade in the United States.
Oh, shit.
Yes, ma'am. They have over 500 video games and pinball machine games at this place.
How big is it?
I didn't look all that up. I just saw that was crazy. I was like, what? When I told my son, he's like, Mom, that sounds so cool.
It does.
I was like, we should go, but I don't know where. No.
We always say we're going to go places we never go.
We never go anywhere. Anyway, so we're going to be speaking about Donna Susan Doll. Mm-hmm. That she sounds like a muñeca.
Yeah.
Donna Susan Doll. She was a student of Northern Illinois University, and she was actually studying Russian.
Okay.
Because she wanted to become a teacher or a translator.
Okay.
So she loved helping people. That was her shit. Like she loved all of that. Which is awesome because I've always wanted to like really study Spanish and become a translator, but then they try to be talking like proper Spanish. Y yo no sé.
No, you use that language. Well, that's why you would be learning it, you know?
That's probably why I wouldn't go to school.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she was a graduate for Riverside Brookfield High School. Donna graduated 15 in her class, as well as being a member of the National Honor Society in 1967. Mm-hmm. So Donna had a younger brother and sister, and she would take care of them. She was like since she was the older sister, she would take care of them. But it wasn't like, así como que te los dejo un ratito and you take care of them. No, like she would take care of them. Like, apparently, according to everyone around her, she would do the chores around the house. She would also cook for them. And
where were her parents?
They didn't really state where her parents were at. So I'm guessing they just were like, you're older, you have to do it. One of those. But not on top of that, she was also an honor society student.
Right,
so she was
on
multitasking.
Yeah.
And so she would not be able to go anywhere because when they would ask her, hey, Donna, get a seat aquí, or you want to go to the movies or this, she couldn't because she had to stay home and babysit. So they didn't really go into that. So I'm guessing she just kind of was like,
I have to take care of my siblings. Yeah.
So according to her friends that, like I said, do remember, she was a tied down in quotations, like she couldn't do anything.
Right.
And all of us go through that a little bit, but I don't think that it was as bad as cooking and cleaning and doing all the chores.
Not as a teenager.
Not as a teenager.
Like you take on those responsibilities.
Yeah.
When your parents are there that they could do it, they just, whatever reason.
I have no idea. But according, so they would call her, she was never wild. She never complained. Mm-hmm. And she was unworldly and innocent. Her friend was Donna. What did we say? How do you say? Charlotte? Yeah. Donna Charlotte. I don't know how to say.
Kiara. Bro, we literally just saying this name. Hold on.
Anyway, well, this is the first time I'm going to say it and the last time. They were friends since they were in the 8th grade. And she recalls as Oh,
Kiara.
Kiara Lot. Okay, so her friend was also Donna, so they were both Donnas. So I from now on will call Donna C and Donna D because it gets really confusing.
Yeah.
They were friends since, like I said, the 8th grade, and she does remember that she was the one that would burden her brothers and her brother and sister as being a teenager. Donna D was the bridesmaid at her friend Donna C's wedding, so they were very close. Mm-hmm. She wanted Donna D to go ahead and become someone else. She would always tell her, get out of your shell. You need to go off.
Live your life.
Live your life. And that, I mean, that's what you would tell your friend. Like, I would. So,
especially if you guys are so young, you know, like.
I mean, especially knowing that your parents no te dejaban hacer nada because you needed to be cleaning and shit, like, pinche cenicienta, like, I would probably be like, you need to go and have fun or whatever. So being the admissions student that she was, she attended the Middlebury College in Pennsylvania in the summer. So she would take summer classes in Pennsylvania, and in 1969 and 1970, she wanted to earn credit towards her master's degree. Okay. So she was doing extra. Basically, she wanted to get ahead. Mm-hmm. But I mean, everybody that knew her wouldn't expect anything less from Donna D because they were like, she always did that. But on top of that, she was working every night at the Swin Parson Library on campus. Okay. So she was making a little bit of money, and she also went to that school on a scholarship. Okay. So basically, para acabar pronto, she was on it, you know? On the night of October the 2nd, 1970, Donna C was going to meet up with her friend, Donna D, for the first time that fall. Because of the fact that they had not seen each other, well, one, because they were going different ways, but also because Donna C was married. Yeah. So she was a newlywed, so they would write to each other, but they weren't able to get together because they were busy. They were doing their life. We do mention that Donna D did go to Pennsylvania for the summer, so she wasn't able to see her. So they said, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and meet and see each other so that we can catch up, basically. So Donna actually, which is her best friend, remembers that they were going to get coffee, and they were just like, vamos a chismear, tell each other how's everything going. Now, Donna D did live in a dorm area, which was called the West Lincoln Highway housing. And at the time, you know, there was, I don't know if it's still like that, pero había como dorm mom and dorm dad. And they were like
I think there are RAs, like an RA, like a resident.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, like an RA. I think that's as close as you can get, right? Like a resident advisor, I think.
Like an advisor. Yeah. But back then
they used to call them different,
parents,
right? Yeah.
So it was a woman and a man, and they would live there, and they would, I guess, basically be like the parent. Yeah. So they would keep an eye on the students and kind of make sure that they would come home and shit. So at this point, at 9:59, Donna D is recorded as clocking out from her job at the library. Okay. So she clocks out at 9:59, and they were supposed to meet up with her friend, right? So she remembers that when she got to the library to meet up with Donna, she wasn't there. She said everything was off.
She had already left.
She had already left. So then she's like, okay. Well, I mean, maybe
she's meeting me up over there, wherever they were going to go or something.
Yeah, something like that. So she said she stood there for about 20 minutes.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, because she's like, well, maybe she's getting her stuff together, whatever. And even in that, like, there's actual quotes from Donna C. And she was like, I just stood there because I didn't know. It was just not like her. We hadn't seen each other in so long for her not to show up. Right. But it also wasn't unlikely because back in the 70s, I mean, everything was like peace and love. And probably she was like, well, maybe she met up with someone else or se fue antes de tiempo. Like, in her mind, she didn't know that she had just clocked out. Right. You know, she was just standing there waiting for her friend. So she was not there. So she gets up and she goes. And apparently she's like, well, I mean, I'm standing here, no viene nadie, pues me voy a retirar, ¿verdad? So she goes off, but then she kind of keeps that in the back of her mind because even though that, like I said, it is in the 70s.
It bugged her.
It bugged her. Yeah. Because she's like, well, I mean.
Like you said, you know, it had been a while. They had been trying to meet up and they just weren't able to. And out of nowhere, I mean, I know to be like, maybe she met somebody, but that wasn't like her.
It wasn't like her.
You know,
because she was so structured.
And she's so punctual.
Exactly. So Donna C figured that, you know, maybe she did have something else to do and she just didn't get a time to tell her.
Yeah, but then tampoco she's not going to think, oh, algo le pasó, you know, like le pasó algo. You make, I don't want to say excuses, but you find a reason for her not meeting up with you. And it's not a bad one.
Like assumptions. Yeah. And not only that, but like, let's think about it. It's the 70s. No hay teléfono.
Right. You're not be like, oh, I'm going to call you.
Yeah, they can't be like, hey, let me text her.
Were there payphones back then?
I think there was payphones, but I don't know. I mean, I guess
but then where were you call her to?
Not only that, but well, exactly. What were you going to call her? Y luego, además de eso, who were you going to say, hey, I can't find her?
Yeah.
Like,
but yeah. No, yeah.
There was just no way. So then she said she went home and she's like, I guess she just had something else to do. So she later found out that she never showed up to the rooming house again because she kind of went back, como que no se quedó a gusto. And she's like, let me go find out if they saw her
go into her dorm or something.
Home, right? So she never went back. And so then her house parents became alarmed because based on what Donna, her best friend, was saying, she's like, wait, it's been 3 days.
Oh,
and she hasn't been.
And she hasn't heard from her.
Yeah. So then at this point, the house parents were like, okay, she hasn't showed up to work. And they find out also that she had missed her little sister's 10th birthday party.
In 3 days?
In those 2 days, yeah, because it was like the day before or something like that.
Oh, it was a Friday, Saturday she had plans, and then Sunday, and then Monday she didn't show up to work.
No. She worked in the
during the weekend.
During the weekend, yeah, and she didn't show up for the birthday party.
And that's, I mean,
dude, she raised her little sister and brother, so for her not to show up to the birthday party, they're like, wait a minute, that's whenever Donna was like, something's not okay.
It's weird for her not showing up at home, but specifically more weird, or you can kind of tell that something no está bien because she didn't show up to her little sister's birthday party.
Exactly. I think that was more alarming than anything.
And then they're like, oh shit, no, something happened to her, algo le pasó.
See, so her not to show up. So then at this point, I'm going to go ahead and rephrase. This is going to be the DeKalb, which is the county. So everything that I call from now is because this is the county, like the county jail, the county, everything is DeKalb. Mm-hmm. So then the police was called on October the 4th, which around 11:30. So then they're like, hey, something's not okay. She's clocked out at work at this time and she didn't show up to see her friend. Now she didn't show up to go back home and all of this stuff. The police did search her room because they're like, well, let's see what's going on. But they're not really concerned with her being disappeared because it's only been a little bit of days. And they're like, well, maybe once again, se fue con su amiga. She found somewhere else to go.
But
whatever.
then her family's like, no, this is not like her.
Exactly.
You know?
And especially her best friend.
Right.
So they searched her room. So this is what they found. They could not really like find anything to pinpoint, oh, se fue here or she, whatever, because they found that her clothes was still intact. Her suitcase that she usually used to go around was still there. Not only that, but she had an uncashed check from the library sitting at home that she had not even used yet. So they're thinking maybe at least she had a few dollars in her pocket. So why would she leave with no money, with the whole...
And then why would she leave, period? You know, like...
And without telling her best friend.
Right. That you were supposed to meet up with.
So they insisted that something wasn't right. And whenever they went through all of her things, like I said, they found that. But they still said, no, you know what? She might have left. So then they asked Miss Donna, hey, do you know where she would have gone? And Donna said, well, I do remember her talking about a guy that she was dating back in Pennsylvania when she would go back over there to
for the summers.
Yeah. And this guy, where she had met him, he was at an Eastern college. And apparently the reason that they wouldn't have made a big deal about going to see him is because he was married. So she was kind of dating him. Mm-hmm. And
did she know that he was married?
She knew he was married, but according to what Donna C knew was that he was getting separated or divorced. So they're like, oh, well, that's exactly where she went. Like automatically. Se fue con él.
Y ahí está.
And she's there. So they're like, well, let's wait a little bit. Vamos a ver si llega and all this stuff. And it's crazy to me because it's like...
They always do that.
They always do that. And we've talked about this before. Like, we know our family members.
Yeah.
Like, I would know that if they would tell me there's a taco truck over there, I amo a perder, and they come and tell you, hey, Barb, she was at a taco, you would know that.
Yeah.
But if they come and tell you she was running and exercising, that's not Barb. I know that she wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? It's like, we know our family members. And if they're telling you, not that I'm a cop or I'm trying to tell you what to do.
Or an investigator.
Well, just kind of
listen.
Maybe look into it or listen. They know what they're talking about.
And it's always better to... Like, okay, let's say que algo no le pasó and you guys ended up finding her. At least you fucking found her. You did your job. That's your job. Like, come on.
So we go back to the same thing. Now that they're thinking that she's off.
With that man,
Donna sees like, well, maybe they're right because, her parents were very strict. Mm-hmm. And her parents were like, absolutely not. She wasn't going to date someone that was married, right? So along with the fact that they were so strict, like I said, there was no reason for her to leave without telling her best friend, I'm meeting up with you, but I'm also going to leave with this guy without letting her know. It just made no sense. So.
And then she was going to school. Why would she just drop everything?
Everything and go. So there was no objective, there was no actual abduction that could be seen. Like they kept saying the cops were like, they didn't see no one scream. There was people around
like
there
she wasn't
in
taken.
The campus. There was no obvious signs of abduction, you know, all of this shit. As I'm guessing that they have to go through that para saber si se la llevaron or no. So no one had reported that they heard somebody screaming. Nada.
That night. So
then they're like, she was just left.
She ran with that.
They ran with that. So from 2 days, it turned into 10 and 9. I mean, not 10, 11. Like it was just time was passing and there was no luck to find Donna. So with the time passing, the Chicago Tribune and the local journal ran stories about Donna D's disappearance. And Donna C's mom back at home would sit with her and they were like trying to find where Donna was, thinking about where they could find her. And her mom was really sad. And while they were there, Donna C recalls that they actually received several strange phone calls to her home telling them, I know where your daughter is at.
Donna C?
Donna D's mom, Mrs. Doll, was sitting there waiting, I guess, to see if she heard anything of her daughter. Well, Donna, her best friend's mom, Miss Sharia, whatever, was there with her. Like they were, like,
the moms.
Las moms. See, they were like comforting each other.
Yeah.
And so then cuando estaba sentada con ella, just watching out for the phone, whatever, she would receive up from anywhere between 5 to 6 phone calls of somebody telling her, I know where your daughter is at. She's dead. You're never going to find her. I know
like
where her body's
like
at.
Somebody would just call and tell her that and hang up?
And hang up. Just like strange shit.
Did she go to the police?
She told the police, of course, but well, we ain't going to go there. We already know what happened.
Oh, they think she left with that man.
Yeah. That brings us to October the 11th of 1970, around 8:30.
And then they reported her missing on the 4th.
Yes.
Okay.
So around 8:30 p.m., 3 teenagers that were on their way to a party, and they drove out. There's a place called Nelson Road to pick up some beer that they had hidden. So based on what I read, this Nelson Road place, it was cornfields.
Okay.
So estaban like really tall.
High. Yeah.
So at least 5 feet, 5.5 feet tall. And so then the kids or the students would go out there and they would hide beer there. Y luego después, like at night, they would come back and drink it there.
Drink it there or take it to the party?
Or take it to the party, drink it there.
But they would pick it up from there.
Yeah, they would pick it up from there. So that was an actual well-known area for the partying and that kind of thing.
Yeah, for the kids.
For the kids to go and do that. So since the grass was so tall, they were out there saying, hey, let me go pick up my beer I had hiding. Yeah. So then apparently the group of kids that I'm talking about had already hidden the beer for about a week before this.
Oh, damn. I thought they did it like that same day in la mañana. They went to drop off the beer and then got it at night.
No, like a week, which I don't even know. Is that safe for you to drink? Está en el sol and shit?
Yeah, but it's fucking Illinois, not Texas.
I know. I'm thinking in my head, dude,
like
it's gonna boil.
It's gonna boil. Yeah. Like here, everything.
Like here, everything boils. You leave it in your car, ya valió verga. Eh?
Yeah, like you can't drink that shit.
You can't drink that shit anymore. So then, apparently, the place or Nelson Road is about maybe like a mile west of the NIU campus, which is in the university. So it's not that far. So then these teenagers, they're walking through the grass, you know, me las imagino, just kind of like slaving, laughing, whatever. And they're looking for the beer that they had hid. So at this time, está bajando el sol, so it's kind of harder for them to see, you know? But then when they're walking towards it, the gentleman that's there with them, which was Jim Ball, he actually had seen from far away something that looked like there was somebody laying down on the floor. So when they got closer, he noticed that it was a body. Oh, so then he turns around and he tells the girls that he's with, hey, take your asses back to the car.
Yeah. We need to call the police.
We need to call the police. He said that the body was lying on its back and it was under a tree and he could see it about 5 feet away. Like it was just
he never got
that
close to it, but you could tell it was a body.
And so then Jim actually was a first-year college student, and he was alongside the 2 girls that I was telling you about. The girls didn't really get to see it because
he told them, and then he told them go.
And the girls listened because if it would have been like, bitch, you don't tell me what to do. Like, you know,
let me see.
I lo quiero ver.
Yeah,
you know,
toda chismosa.
Y luego hubiera estado
todo traumada.
No podía dormir and shit. And so then he says that he tells them, go back to the Pontiac station wagon that they were driving. From there, they drove directly to the police station. Because remember, there was no cell phone, so you had to drive to the police station. They reported what they had seen. The police followed them back to the location that they had seen the body. And they found out, yes, in fact, it was a body of a female. So when the body was taken to the coroner's office, they did identify the body as being Donna D's body.
How old was she?
She was 21. She was identified by one of her close friends named Charles Burke, who was apparently, according to him, a good friend of hers, but they had, how do you say that? They had a romantic relationship before. So they were romantically involved. And they
had been.
Had been, yeah.
Okay.
But they weren't anymore.
Right.
But he was like, oh, I'm going to go and
he's going to insert himself in the...
He said metiche. And so Charles was a graduate student from the math department there at the university. He had organized search parties and he had been in the area where Donna D was found. So it was along some tracks, but then they actually stopped only a quarter of a mile away from...
Actually, the location of the body.
I don't know why that kind of like... me dio kind of like a little stomach ache because I'm like...
You were so close?
Not only that, but how convenient that you were quarter of a mile. Does that mean that the people that were searching couldn't see her? Or did you do it like, I don't know, me and my crazy self. Anyway, so Donna was fully clothed and only her shoes were missing. But there was something odd about that, is the fact that she was wearing a different jacket that she was seen at work with. Okay. So her jacket was different.
But it was hers? But it was her jacket or somebody?
It was not her jacket.
Okay.
So it was not her jacket. And also that her shoes were missing along with her purse. And still till today, 50-something years later, they still have not found her jacket, her purse, or her shoes. What the fuck? Yeah. According to the county's sheriff, which was Roger Scott, in the 1970s, Nelson Road was a popular spot for, like I said, for kids. Students to go.
Not kids, students.
Yeah, students. And they would go and drink, as they called it. For the body to be dumped there, that means that they knew that somebody was going to see this body.
Eventually, somebody was going to find her.
Somebody was going to find her. It wasn't something that you're like, la voy a esconder aquí so nobody can find her.
Right.
No. Like, it was something that if you knew that area, you knew somebody was going to find her, or at least a student was going to see her. So the newspaper started to run the story and let everybody know that they had found Donna's body. Like, we found her body.
At Nelson Road.
Nelson Road. Everybody started freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
Because this is not something that happens in this area.
Right. So they're like, oh shit, is it going to start happening to everybody else now?
Exactly.
You know?
Is there a killer out there? Is there a serial killer?
That's targeting college students or young women.
You don't know if it was just for her. Was it for a lot of people? Right. Like, it just started going crazy. This place had not seen a death in so long. They didn't have a morgue. Oh. They didn't have a morgue. They didn't have any.
So they had to go to like another city nearby?
Because that's how much they were like so
was it like a college town?
Yes, it was a college town, yeah. So obviously, based on what everyone was reading, we're like, oh shit, like, oh my God, like fuck? We need to be careful.
And then people knew Donna, right? Like people knew
Donna. Yeah. I mean, she worked at the library.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she was known by whoever would go to the library. And if you're a student, you probably would go to the library. Yeah. So there were just a lot of questions that were not being answered. According to an article in the 1970s of the Daily Chronicle, Ms. Doll had been alive for at least 48 hours after disappearing. So she disappeared. Friday. And she had been alive for 3 days.
48? That's
2 days. 48 on 2 days, right?
Yes.
A la verga. Yes, 48 on 2 days. And also that she had died of being suffocated. And they're saying that it could have been with the plastic bag or a pillow. But it was weird because when the coroner started making its report, there was no fibers. Nothing was found in her airway. Nothing was found in her stomach.
So it had to have been with a bag?
Okay, a bag, right? But there was nothing to where the person had like any residue around her mouth of like plastic or anything like that. A hand? No, there's no, nothing. So they're like, okay, well, how was she suffocated, right? There was a mystery substance that was found on the body, but it was unable to be identified.
Right.
So not only that, she didn't have any violent signs. Like there was no like...
She didn't have defensive wounds.
No defensive wounds. She wasn't scratched up. Her skin was clean. Like, ya ves que sometimes when they tie them up, they have like ligature marks. Nothing. There was no sexual assault. Nothing. She was just laying there and she was suffocated.
What?
Exactly. So they wow, not the dick. They checked the contents of her stomach and they found that Miss Doll had eaten a huge amount of potatoes.
Huh?
A huge amount of potatoes before her death. They were thinking there was about 5 to 6 pounds of potatoes in her stomach. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
In 2 days?
In 2 days. So with that being said,
what?
She had been that she stayed alive and she was eating potatoes. That's all they know at this point. Right?
Yeah.
It gets a little bit weirdo. Hold on one second.
Weirder.
Yeah. When all of this started coming out, they started saying that the suspect could have been involved with her. Because if there's no defensive wounds,
she wouldn't have. She knew who he was, so she wouldn't. Who he was,
right?
Yeah.
And so then,
let me look her up real quick. I want to see what she looks like.
Let's take a quick break.
Persons of Interest is back, and it's bigger than ever.
That scream will echo in my head for many years.
Taser! 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 He's going to shoot!
Oi! Shot fired! Shot fired! Shot fired!
Stay out! You got a gun on you!
He had the perfect aim.
I am absolutely stressed at that point. I have no idea where my officers are.
Persons of Interest available everywhere you get your podcasts.
And so then when they did start, coming out with whatever happened, they said, okay, well, maybe it was her ex-boyfriend, right? So she had recently broken off her relationship and they started looking into it and they started questioning Donna C again, which is her best friend. So there has to have been a motive. Mm-hmm. There has to have been the only one that I found was if you keep looking, there's one that there was in the newspaper and she was a small little girl.
Yeah, she had pretty long red hair.
She was really small.
She was petite. She was super tiny.
For her to have, okay, so we're going to talk about this, about the amount of potatoes that is. That's a lot of fucking potatoes.
Bro.
Yeah. Time passes and they start saying, hey, let's look into someone that could be close and who would she have not been afraid of, or maybe that
works with potatoes?
I don't know. So anyway, they looked into Donna D's ex-boyfriend, which happens to be Charles.
Yeah.
Charles Burke. So that was the same person that identified, if we don't remember.
Her body.
Right? Donna C, which is her best friend again, recalls that was actually Donna Doll's first boyfriend. That was her first boyfriend. She had never had another boyfriend. And she remembers receiving letters from her best friend saying that she was attending the summer language program in Pennsylvania, so that she had to break it off with Charles because she was
going to leave
and she was seeing
somebody else. Yes.
Obviously, she had been going back to Pennsylvania and she was going to start a relationship with this man that lived in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And according to what Donna C knew, her best friend was saying, hey, this guy was leaving his wife. So they were supposed to be together. And the letter said that he was supposed to come over to her university to see her by Halloween. So this was like in the summer. So let's say by Halloween, that would have been in around October, around the time that she passed away, right? So she had moved on. She's like, I don't want to be with Charles anymore. I'm done with him. I'm going to be with this other man. They never mentioned the man's name. So
yeah, I mean, if you had nothing to do with it, whatever.
Had nothing to do with it. But Donna C, her best friend, does call him a passive jerk and a nerd who didn't have any intellect that matched Donna, her best friend. So these apparently, they had nothing to do with each other. I guess Donna was just kind of like dating him, pero
they had nothing in common.
So she broke it off.
Yeah.
She broke it off because he didn't break it off. But now, here's the deal with Mr. Charles. He's kind of a weirdo. Not a weirdo because there's nothing wrong with being a little weird, but this is where it kind of gets
odd.
He's odd because he lives alone in an apartment in a suburban estate close to the spot where she was found dead.
So it's an estate?
Yeah.
That rents rooms to college students?
To college students.
And he lived in one.
Well, he wasn't a college student. He already graduated in
he was a graduate student?
He's a graduate student. Oh, no, I'm lying. Yes, he was a student. So he was remember I told you he was in the math department of the university. So he actually lived really close on Nelson Road. And not only that, but like when he was questioned, he started acting a fool. He's like, why the fuck are you questioning me? I didn't have anything to do with it.
He's also her age, like 21, 22.
Yes. Another thing is that, you know, he was a consultant in a large Chicago bank. So he was working on...
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So he was working on designing computer systems to do things for his...
Like a banking cell.
would be like kind of like a calculator to calculate money faster or something like that. So that's what he was doing, working on crunching numbers.
Pues pendejo no estaba.
Oh, no. Of course not. He was an intelligent guy.
Yeah.
Not only that, but he did serve at the funeral as one of the pallbearers
for Donna.
And on top of that, he insisted on her being buried with the pair of earrings that he gave her. I know. Like, I'm telling you, he was weird, but like not in a, I don't know.
No, it's just, as someone... No, I get it. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I know what you mean by him being a little bit odd as far as now that she has, you know, been found, you want to do all these things when you guys weren't even together anymore.
They weren't together. And not only that, but he's the one that actually identified her.
Right.
So why were you that ready to go to identify a body of someone that, you know?
I mean, I know maybe, I guess you date somebody and you care about them, sure. But how long were they even together?
I don't know.
Not long, but like, damn. Like,
not long enough for her to move on because she was like, peace out.
Bye.
I'm seeing someone else, you know? Not only that, but they started kind of getting a little bit worried about him. Not worried, but kind of suspicious. And they were like, okay, we're going to give you a chance to say your side of the story. Can you tell us what happened? Did you get upset? What was it? And he would hang up on them. He would not answer his phone sometimes. Not only that, but he would say, I have no comment, and then slam the phone in their faces that kind of doesn't make you look too good, guy. Like, you know, you're not doing too well to look good in front of the investigators, right? Not only that, but a few days later, the sheriff announced that they had someone that they were going to investigate.
Like a person of interest
and
in regards to
Charles Burke.
Did they release his name?
They released his name and they released a statement saying, hey, we're looking into this person because he's a person of interest. And guess what he did?
What?
At around 4:00 in the morning, he went to the University Health Service because he slit his throat. I mean, he slit his wrist.
Yeah,
se quiso matar.
Pero then he decided not to and went to the hospital?
Yeah. So then he went to the hospital and right after he left from there, they were like, okay, you're clear. You didn't die. Good job. You leave. He got a lawyer. He lawyered up. Ha de haber dicho, pues no me maté. I'm going to need a lawyer.
Maybe
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no. I mean, maybe he was like, no, I don't think this is for me. So I need to just get a lawyer, you know?
And he literally went there. They have like a whole timeline of where he was at the health service from the hospital or the university.
Like immediately after he got released.
He got released at 4 a.m. By 8 a.m., he had a lawyer. I mean, okay. So on October the 20th of 1970, the Chronicle of the university, or like the journal, the newspaper, wrote a story about him and about how he was suspicious and saying, hey, he just tried to kill himself. So they go and talk to the lawyer. And this is what the lawyer said. The lawyer said that Mr. Burke was quite emotionally disturbed over Miss Doll's death.
Okay.
And that he had been extremely cooperative with the police. He was working 20 out of 24 hours of the day to try to find who had done this.
Oh, he was looking. He was.
Yes. Not only that, but anybody that called to help, he was there to help them. And he even volunteered to take a polygraph test, but they didn't want to, which we know that didn't happen, but whatever. With this being said, this is kind of the end of it because that's all that happened.
That's it?
That's it. After that, they have no idea what happened to her. They don't know anything. A few years, I think 40 years later, her sister did come out with a statement saying that all they wanted to know was to have closure. Like they wanted to see what happened to her sister, but no investigation was done. After that, they just were like, okay, he didn't do it.
He didn't do it, or they just couldn't find anything to pin it on him?
They didn't have anything to pin it on him. Not only that, they did investigate the other man that was married.
But he was
in another
ruled out.
state. Not only that, like, why would he come all the way over there, kill her, and then go back over there if he was supposed to see her?
And how would he know
Halloween?
to put her in the field where...
He didn't know anything about that place.
Right, he wasn't from there.
Not only that, he was a married man with his own wife and all kinds of
a
shit.
grown man, I'm
man.
assuming here, right? Like a little bit older than...
A little bit older.
Than Donna D.
So... Burke did have many reasons to kill her. I mean, obviously, he was upset for what happened. And then why would you try to kill yourself and then be like, I'm going to get a lawyer? You know? And so then here's where I come into where I wanted to ask you. Because then I was like, okay, well, what if the potatoes killed her? Like, because it's suffocation, right? So do you think that the potatoes suffocated her from the inside?
But she ate them.
Yes. But think about it. Were the potatoes raw? Because, you know, if the potatoes are raw, that green shit that's on top of them, that's like really toxic.
But who would give you potatoes?
Exactly. So let's say that they had not fed her for a while and she was just hungry.
But that's the thing. But what's a while? I mean, it's not like she was alive for 2 weeks after.
Exactly.
It was 2 days.
So then, okay, let's say that she wanted to eat potatoes only. You know, there's a lot of people that just are like, they have sensory problems and they're like, I just eat some certain thing. But were the potatoes boiled? I mean,
but
like,
that's the thing.
No.
That's what I'm saying. But I guess that's where you need more information, you know, as far as, I don't know what the fuck food looks like when they fucking go into your stomach.
Not only that, but according to what I was reading, so the potatoes, if they're raw, they do like release. They're heavier, but they do release like some sort of like chemical that it's really, I don't know what they called it. It's a name though. I need to look it up again. But it was like, they do release some sort of like chemical, and it can be deadly, but not deadly enough to like go into your system. And according to what they had back then, she didn't have anything in her blood. Like there was no like drugs or anything like that. So if there is no, I don't know. I just don't understand the 5 to 6 pounds of potatoes.
I just don't see how that would suffocate a person.
I don't either. But
it's weird. It's just random to have that much pounds of potatoes in your stomach.
That's a lot of potatoes, dude. Do you know when you go and we're going to make let's say we're going to make potato salad for a whole, like
a family?
I use a 5 pound, sometimes a 3 pound of potatoes. You imagine.
La bolsa. You buy the big,
the 10 pound one is the biggest one. Yeah. And then half of that is what she ate. And as you said, she's small. Like, I don't know. Was she hungry? I don't know. But
do you think it was Charles?
I think it was Charles, honestly.
What does he have to do with potatoes?
I don't know.
Like, there has to be, like, if it was him. Well, he was the only suspect, right? Aside from the married man.
Well, aside from the married man.
He was ruled out.
And not only that, but think about it. They actually, like, made a statement that they were going to charge him with this, like, that they were looking as a person of interest. So if that's the case, then police must have had something else on him. But then he got a lawyer, and I don't know what happened after that.
They just probably didn't have anything. They didn't have any charges that would be able to stick.
Yeah, that's true.
And then if you take it, other probably. I mean, like you said, there wasn't any. She didn't have any defensive wounds.
No defensive wounds.
There wasn't any fibers found. Like if she was suffocated, I wonder if her body could be exhumed, like in today's time,
right? And
they could do like another autopsy,
or like a toxicology report,
because it had been so long.
But whose jacket was it? Like, whose jacket?
Do you think it was the Times? Like,
maybe
the reason why, like, whose jacket was it? Or you just think that there's just not people know this, there's just not enough information that hasn't been released to the public.
That's true. Well, I mean, it's in the 70s. We're in 2023.
Literally 1970, not like late 70s.
No, like in the 70, like 70.
Yeah.
And we're, how many years that you're 7, 80, 90, 2000? So like 53 years?
Yeah, like 50 years.
50 something years. And nobody's ever said or nobody's ever talked about it anymore. Like nothing. Like I just feel like that is just so crazy to me that nobody has ever talked about the fact that this girl was found dead on the field where they knew that there was people driving around. Somebody had to have seen something.
And everything points to Charles. I mean, from what you stated, he lived close by.
Yep.
Let's say he had a motive because he was pissed off that she broke up with him. Y se va a ir con el married man.
And how convenient that you're the one that went to identify the body.
Yeah. Why are you inserting yourself donde no It's not your business. Not like that.
No, and the thing is, but if I would have been my family, like
Wait,
if it
and
would have been me,
I wonder if her parents knew him because
That's what I was about to say.
how the fuck do you become a pallbearer?
Exactly, a whole ass pallbearer.
And you get to decide, oh, these earrings, she's gonna wear them when she's buried.
Exactly. And okay, I get it. Like it must have been hard for her family. You know, it must have been hard for her family,
right?
You know, to go and identify a body, and they were not in that area because, you know, they didn't live there,
right?
So they're like, okay, but wouldn't you be like, I'm her mom, I'm gonna fucking identify my child,
right?
You know, like, especially,
do you think he just inserted himself?
I think so. But not only that, but think about it, if she was sitting there and she was getting phone calls, okay, so how would you get
about the phone calls?
How would you get phone calls? How would you get phone calls back then? Based on something that I was reading.
Well, you call. I mean,
yeah, you would call, but you would know what? Somebody's number, right?
Yeah.
So if they were calling her,
but didn't they have the phone book back in the day?
Yeah. But I mean, literally, you're gonna have to go through all of that just to find her parents' number so that you can contact them.
Yep. I mean, people do more. I mean,
that's true.
People are sick.
I mean, that's true. So I mean, I thought maybe they knew her number. That's the way I saw it. Like, okay, they knew her number. And they were just calling.
I'm sure getting her information, getting her parents' information wasn't that hard, especially if he worked for the university or he was very in the university, you know?
Yeah, and not only that, but I did read at one point. The thing is, to me, it killed me whenever they were that close to finding the body, and he called off the search right before.
And why is he calling off? Oh, because it wasn't like an actual police search party. It was just like he got people together.
Yeah.
Y lo fueron a buscar.
It was her.
Around the area.
I think it was like the people that were in the other languages department there at the university, and he just got them together and let's go look. Well, do you think he was doing that to look good?
Yes. Because that's what those people do.
I don't know, guys. I want to know what y'all think. I thought that this one was kind of like
it's
question
weird.
Question mark. It was weird.
You know that meme, the Shrek, and he's like this?
No, or that guy that's like...
my face.
Huh?
Yeah.
With the question marks everywhere?
Yeah.
Like, what?
I'm confusion.
I'm super confusion.
I think he did it.
I do too. I want to know what everybody else thinks. Do you think she... Like, okay, maybe she had... Let's say that he had her, like, captive, right? Y luego... but I just don't understand. Let's say he gave her the potatoes, right? I'm still with this potato thing, girl.
And I
That's
wonder...
a lot of potatoes for someone that small. It's like you eating 5 pounds of potatoes, Estela.
No. I mean, I love potatoes in all shapes and forms and sizes, but...
I mean...
I can't eat that much.
Potatoes
like that.
That's close to the perfect food. Like, literally, it could be fried, it can be boiled, it can be anything.
Whatever.
You can have cheese on it, mashed. You
by
can have butter by themselves.
Cheese.
Butter.
Loaded.
Yeah. Bacon. Whatever you want.
Potato chips.
And now I want to know, is there anything else but potatoes in her stomach? Like, were they, like, I need to know, were they fried? Like, was it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but can you tell that?
No, I don't know if you can, if it's in your stomach. Like, I don't know. I want to know what everybody thinks. Please let us know. This one was kind of like...
and there hasn't been like no new leads
nothing.
or what the fuck?
Yeah, based on what I read, a lot of the stuff that I found was older. So they were like 50 years or 51 years ago or whatever. But a lot of the stuff that I found, nope, nobody says anything. There's no updates. There's nothing.
That's so weird.
But yeah, that gets us to the end of Miss Donna Doll's unsolved mystery. Death. Mysterious death.
That's so odd, dude. I can't.
Let us know what you think. Do you think it was the potatoes? Do you think it was Charles? I think Charles probably took her. Here we go again. I think Charles probably took her y la tenía like encerrada, and then let's say he fed her potatoes and then she accidentally suffocated. But can you suffocate from eating potatoes?
I don't think
that
so.
Many. I mean, from the inside, like, I don't know. Because it's like, we go back to the same thing. If he was suffocated with the bag or she was suffocated with, like, how was she suffocated? But her cause of death was suffocation.
I don't know, but I feel like we should start a petition to get this case opened back up. We need to start a petition.
I agree 100%. They have to check to see if she had anything in her system. Was there, like...
Or I'm sure maybe there's more tests that they can be done now as opposed to in 1970. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe like her O2 level, like was her oxygen low? I mean, like I need to know.
Oh, how were the potatoes?
How were the potatoes? Like, were they fried? I mean, was this potatoes that were eaten?
And whose
within
jacket?
how
I
long?
mean, did the jacket had any fibers that belonged to somebody else?
Dude,
You know,
but
like
it's been 50 years y no están ni la chamarra ni los zapatos. Did they burn them? Like, what happened? You know,
Her
because
purse.
her purse and her shoes and her own jacket. Like, where is this shit?
damn.
Yeah. So let us know what you think. Thank you so much for listening. You can always send us any suggestions at
Cafecito and Crime Pod at gmail.com, or you can follow us on Instagram at
Cafecito and Crime Pod. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Let us know what you think, and we'll talk to you in the next one.
Bye.